Hello and welcome to Rock and Roll. I'm Robert Madoy. Guess what? We have yet another bumper show, all to be spent in the company of David Mutaka and Philip Kiwoijana. Gentlemen, are we ready to rock and roll?
More roll than rock. Yeah. Of course, happy to be here, Robert.
Okay, here's what we have for you. Cobs and Heathens played out a nail-biting contest at Chadondo. We have all the tries, hits, and side steps from what turned out to be a memorable encounter. Philip Okraj is on the comeback train. We've been to find out what's changed since Anthony Kinene fractured his leg. And Pirates 8th man Eric Putime tells us why it's important that his side avoids what will no doubt be a dreaded relegation playoff. First of all though, the ink is yet to dry on the script that Cobs and Heathens authored last weekend. As we suspect, you all now know that the Cobs beat Heathens in their backyard 14-13. We nevertheless couldn't help but revisit this thriller of a match that left many on tenterhooks.
tackle. Brilliant cover defense. Bishop brings them equal in points with the Cubs with 5 minutes to go. Opportunity by Atuman Mugewa.
The man for the moment, showing his work. I predicted it as he came on. He's the next best thing in Uganda rugby.
What a match, guys. I thought the Cobs front row really came up to the party. They played some brilliant pick and drive rugby, didn't they?
Yes, they did. I think it was overall a good testament for rugby. The crowd, the tension. But as you say, the Cobs forwards came into that game like a bunch of charging buffaloes, and the Heathens had no answers early on. So Brian Odong, Cyrus Watum, and Timothy Kabonero in the front row, and of course the back row. The lineouts were working. Scott was dangerous in open play. The try, of course, was scored by Musaja Gulanyago. So definitely, yeah, the front 8 led by example for the Cobs.
Okay. Obviously, he's talked about Scott Oloch. We've just seen the hits that he unleashed onto some of the Heathens players. He seemed to have been fired up for this one.
It's not for this one. I will say Scott is a man who has always been fired up. Whoever is facing is scared to face him. He is that kind of player. And like we said in the previous show, Robert, he's one of the players we said would turn up and would make the difference for Cobs. And you could see it on the day. His picks at 8th man were brilliant. The space he created, the meters he covered, it really gave the forwards also the energy to move on. And I think Scott really was a big impact on that game.
Okay. And moving on to Justin Kimono. He did not have the most stellar of games, did he? I in fact lost count of the number of ball handling errors he committed.
I wouldn't put it all on Justin Kimono. If you take the game as a whole, the score first of all tells you it's a test type of game. It's a final. It was a league game, but it's like a final, and it's won by mistakes. Who makes more mistakes or who makes less mistakes wins. And so the backs were out of it. It was about defense. It was about don't make a mistake. Not today. So Justin, like any other back, the ball will come out only when the coach says we can be adventurous now.
Now, of course, Philip Wokorach kicked 8 of the 13 points Heathens got on the board against Cobs. It was, by all accounts, a remarkable feat for the young back, considering that he had his leg in a plaster cast for the most part of 2012. We've been speaking to Wokorach about that leg injury and more.
I grew up around in the neighborhood near Chadondo, so we would come down here, play simple while watching the big guys play. We used to play tag, then after tag rugby, they take us through simple drills of contact. So we ended up loving contact as well. This goes back to my coach, Brian Tindikawa. He was a fullback in Heathens, and I used to like the way he used to play. So we had a trip to England, and as we were training, our coach, Jim Park, told me I would be better if I play 15. So when I tried it out, it was cool. So I took it up from that time up to now. I'm just from injury, and it won't just go immediately, but with time, I know it will go. To me, on that spot, when he tackled me, he told me Akonkamazi, which I took in my heart as a bad act. But after some time while in the hospital, he sent me a message saying he was sorry for what he had done, though he was defending me from making a try. And to me, I took it as rugby, whereby injuries are there in sports. Though it wasn't that, the tackle wasn't legal, it was illegal. That's why I broke my leg. But I forgave him and I let it go. I had a strong belief that I'll come back one day, one time. This goes back to Sogi, because he helped me a lot. I study in Mukono, UCU, and Sogi stays in Mukono, so he would call me, we go with him to the gym and we do some strengthening a bit, and I would feel better day by day. That's when I started running, and it's coming back slowly, but right now I feel, yeah, I'm back. But mentally, it is still there, but it will go.
Philip Okorach there, his story, it accentuates, doesn't it, you know, the central position that tag rugby has assumed in Ugandan rugby.
Definitely. A lot of development work goes into raising the players we have today, and I think the Tag Rugby Trust does deserve a huge mention, as Philip said there. And it's the activity of unsung heroes like those that has really created many of the players that we see. Our structures are not yet strong enough that you have academies and types of things to bring new players through. So it's the Tag Rugby Trusts, the coaches like Sogi, the Fred modelers on the other side, who really bring up these young players through the system. And if there's no one to handhold them, then they get lost.
Philip, your namesake, Philip Okorach there, he says that his preferred position is fullback, but we have seen, you know, a number of fullbacks this season put their best foot forward. And I'm talking Benon Kiza, who is a teammate of Okorach. I'm talking Aredo. I'm talking James Odong, of Buffaloes. Do you see him owning this position?
Really, I see Philip owning this position. You look at Philip Okorach's kind of play. He's brilliant to watch. And that's the thing with these youngsters. James Odong, the way they find the space, the way they create passes out of nowhere, and basically you need a fast player who is confident to be a good back, and Philip has a lot of that in him.
Absolutely. I think he's still coming back. Some people think maybe he came back too soon. He needed a bit more time to rest. But he acquitted himself well. And you could see it in the game every time he was faced with a one-on-one situation. I think he beat only 1 or 2 players. The rest of the times he kicked. He preferred not to go into direct contact. So you can see that he's second-guessing himself. But he still has key skills around kicking from ball in hand, kicking for the posts, and even his running. You see he was not running freely. So his pace has come off a bit. And so that's how you tell that it's really on his mind. But the way he kicks, the way he walks, the way he makes it look so easy, you could think that it's not. But for a player, that pain, that memory never goes away. I mean, some of the injuries I picked up in the shoulder injuries, when the shoulder has recovered, you still don't want to go into a tackle. You're thinking it still plays on your mind, yes.
And the knees let you down eventually.
Let's take a break now, may we? When we return, we have Eric Butime for you, as well as some action from across the border.